Hi students. Last class we had to study about what is principles of management, what are the important features of management. Today we are going to study about the Taylor's principles of management. So the most famous, he is known as the father of scientific management. So we have to study about the principles of Taylor's scientific management.
Frederick Winslow Taylor, he is known as the father of scientific management. So Taylor's ideas about this scientific management was developed out of his years of experience. He first observed the functions and motions that each worker performed while doing their job. After this analysis, he would redesign the job, avoiding unnecessary motions as prescribed, one best way to perform that job. So, scientific management implies the application of the scientific method of study and analysis of the problems of management. So, traditional method were uneconomical and lot of resources were misused and lost. So, scientific management uses scientific investigations and judgment instead of traditional method of management. So, we can say is that scientific management is knowing exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and the cheapest way. So, for completing a job with the best and the cheapest way, we have to complete the job. So in the last chapter we have to study about the levels of management. So the lowest in the levels of management, the foreman is the lowest ranking manager and the highest ranking workers. So he is an important around the entire, so he's an important person in the entire production planning, implementation and controlling. So Taylor give more importance to the performance of this role in the factory setup. So he identifies a list of qualities of a group supervisors and he found that all one single person could not fit for all this quality. So this promoted him to suggest a functional foremanship through 8 persons. So these the 8 persons are instruction card clerks, route clerks, time and course clerks, disciplinary. So in total working, the separation of planning, the Taylor give advocated to separate the planning and execution function. So this concept was extended to the lower level of the shop floors. So this is known as the functional foremanship. So factory manager, he has to there was a planning in charge and production in charge, divided into two category, planning in charge and a production in charge. So planning in charge includes persons, 4 instruction persons, and production also in charge has 4 instruction persons. So in planning in charge, first one is uh, instruction card clerks, then route clerks, time and course clerks, then disciplinarians. So instruction card clerks he has instruction card clerks lay down instruction according which workers are required to do their works. So route clerks, he has to determine the process of production and deciding the route through which the raw materials will passes. And the time and course clerks, he has to setting the timetable for doing or completing a job as per the route or the time schedule. So specify the materials and labor cost of each operations. And disciplinarian has to maintain a proper discipline, finding solution for clashes and making provision for punishment. So these 4 people do all these functions. Then after they give instruction to the workers. Then in production in charge, divided into 4 sections: speed boss, gang boss, repair boss and inspector. So the gang boss, he has to arrange workers, machine, materials etc. for the job. He has to make an arrangements there. The speed boss, he has to maintain the speed, finding reasons for delay and taking steps to remove them. Repair a boss, he has to maintain the machines and equipments, arrangement for their oiling, cleaning, repairing, etc. like that. So inspectors, he has to see that the work conform to be a standard quality products. So these four persons do, and they give instruction to the workers. So the next one is standardization and simplification of work. So according to Taylor, maximum objective of a business can be achieved only through when the raw material, labor, machinery, equipment, methods, technologies are standardized. All these will be standardized, then we can increase the production. So standardization may take place. First one is standardization of products. So article produced or designed, the article produced products, their design, size, type, weight, quality, etc. have a uniformity. So standardization of raw materials means reduced the wastage, increase the quality of production and simplify operations. Then another one is standardization of machine, tools and equipments. So that will helps to most appropriate and economical use of resources. Then standardization of method means the methods and techniques of production should also be predetermined after a careful study. So otherwise considerable time and energy will be lost. Standardization in working condition. Working condition like lighting, ventilating, temperature, humidity, safety, air conditions, spaces, etc. should be standardized. That will create a good working atmosphere and thereby increasing the efficiency of the workers. So that is standardization. So standardization refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity. So it can be standardization of process, raw materials, time, products, machinery, method or working conditions. So simplification aims at eliminating superfluous variety of size, dimension, while standardization implies diversing new variety instead of existing one. So simplification aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity of the product. So that it results in saving of cost of labors, machineries and tools. So reduced the inventories, fuller utilization of equipments and increasing the turnover. So another techniques used by the Taylor is a work study. It means a critical examination of the operational efficiency of an organization. So for examining this operational efficiency, first method study, second one is motion study, then time study and fatigue studies. So method study means it's a study to know the best method of doing a particular job. For completing a job, which is the best method, we have to select it. So method study means reduce the distance between the store and the place of consumption of raw materials. So simplify the use of tools and equipments, improving the storing and inspection facilities or grouping of similar activities. So in this way we can reduce to the time. So this is the best way to doing a particular job. So another one is motion study. So every operation requires certain motion. That means holding, folding, removing, carrying, passing, pressing, etc. So motion study involves the study of movement of the workers or a machine. So aim of this study is to eliminating unnecessary or inefficient moments. So motion studies includes analysis of motions involved in every job, finding out the minimum times required for every job. So recording the best motions and the time taken for it, avoiding unnecessary or useless motions. So selecting the best motion, that is motion study. Then next one is time study. So time study is time study determines the standard time taken to perform a well-defined job. So it's an art of observing and recording the time required to do time required for completing a task. So it helps to fix a standard time. So every worker is expected to perform the work during that time. Then last one is fatigue study. So when a worker is required to work continuously, his speed and his efficiency will be reduced. So he become tired and he won't need rest. So fatigue study finds the time when the workers on a job will become tired and need rest. So the time of rest is also fixed. So last class we have to studied about the different techniques of scientific management, and now we are going to study about Fayol's principles of management. So Henry Fayol's administrative theory provides an important link in the classical school of management. So he give more importance to the managerial efficiency. So Fayol was firstly identify 4 functions of management: planning, organizing, directing, controlling. Altogether his version was a bit different for that. So plan, organize, command, coordinate, control. According to Fayol, all the activities of an industrial undertaking could be divided into technical, commercial, financial, security, accounting and managerials. So he is considered the 14 principles of management propounded by him was discussed in 1917 at the Administrative Industrial Management. It was published in English as General and Industrial Management and in 1949, and he is widely considered as the foundational worker in classical management theory. His contribution is known as the father of general management. So there are 14 principles for management. The first one is division of work. So division of work of all kinds must be divided and subdivided and allotted to various persons according to their expertise in a particular area. So the principles of specialization applies to managerial work as also to technical work. So when specialists were given job, they will do the work efficiently. Specialization increases outputs and employees and more efficiency. Second one is authority and responsibility. So authority refers to the right of the superiors to get extractness from their subordinates. Responsibility means that is the obligation for the performance of the job assigned. So authority is the right to give orders and get orders obeyed. Manager should have adequate authority to getting things done, and the responsibility means the duty which the subordinate is expected to perform. When a person expects authority, he becomes responsible. Third one is discipline. So discipline means obeying the rules and regulation of the organization. Discipline is necessary for the smooth running of an organization. So already discipline means sincerity, obedience, respects of an authority. So subordinates should respect their superiors and obey their rules. Then unity of command. So it means that one subordinate should receive orders from one superior only. If he receives orders from more than one superior, he will not be able to carry out these orders properly. So this principle helps to maintain a clear authority and responsibility in the organization. So the subordinate should receiving orders from one boss at a time, and he should not receive instruction from more than one person. The next one is unity of direction. Unity of direction means people engaged in same kind of business or same kind of activity must have same object in a single plan. Without unity of direction or unity of action cannot be achieved. So Fayol says that this principle is mean to one head and one plan for a group of activity having same objective. So there should be only one manager and one plan for all operations having the same objectives. So unity of direction is distinct from or different from unity of command. While the former is related with the functioning of the business as a whole, and the unity of direction which functions to the person. So unity of direction refers to one unit, one plan, while unity of command denotes one employee should receive orders from one superior only. The next one is subordination of individual interest to common goal. An organization. So the interest of an organization is both the interest of individual. So when there is a conflict between individual and the organizational interest, the organization interest must be considered. So more importance will be given to the organizational interest. This can be achieved when the managers are honest and fair in their dealings. So more importance will be given to the organizational objectives. Then next one is remuneration of employees or remuneration of personnel. Workers should be paid fair wages for their services. So the method of wage payment should be provide maximum possible satisfaction to both the employer and the employee. So it should be according to the satisfaction of both the employer and the employee, and the remuneration must be a fair one for the employees. So centralization, so it means it's a concentration of authority at the higher level of the organization, and decentralization refers to the delegation of authority to the lower levels. So everything that goes to be increased to the subordinates role in the process of decision making is a decentralization, and everything which goes to be reduced, it is a centralization. There must be an adequate centralization, as well as centralization will be in a firm. That is decentralization. So concentration of authority at the top level. So it's suitable to the top management to retain most to the decision making. So the next one is scalar chain. So it is a chain of superior ranking from the ultimate authority to the lowest level of the organization. So every communication going up down must flow from the each position in a line of authority. So already there is a figure is given. So the communication will be passing from A to B, B to C. So it's a going from upper to the lower level, A to E, F. And the organization should have a chain of authority and communication running from the top to the bottom of the manager, top manager to the lower level. So every orders or instruction etc. has to passes through this scalar chain. So if this authority method, so this so there is a graph is given, so diagram is given there. So it's a gang plan. If B wanted to communicate, say immediately he want to communicate G, then he can directly communicate it with the G. So that's a shortcut method for the scalar chain. So easy for communicating with us. So that is known as the gang plan. Next one is order. So people and the material should be in the right place at the right time. There should be a place for everything and everything must be in its place. In the order of material, there must be a place for everything. In the order of person, there must be a fixed place for every employee. So there is an order for everything. That is order. This concern with the people and property must be arranged in a systematic arrangement should be needed. This arrangement of these things and materials or the placement of order is called social order. So arrangement of things is called material order, and the placement of people is called social order. So equity requires a fair judgment. So employees must treat with kindness and equity. So manager should friendly with his subordinates. Next one is stability of tenures of the personnel. That means the employee should not be transferred frequently. Because that considerable time is required for learning each job. So when an employee should be transferring from one position to another, they cannot be learned that work. So employee should allow to remaining in a post and do his work for a minimum period. The next one is initiatives. So Fayol wanted that the subordinate should be given an opportunity to take some decisions in thinking and executing the plans, and we should have to encourage them to think and implement their plans. The manager has to encouraging the subordinate to think and implement certain plans. So the next one is spirit the crops, the union in strength. So there may be a coordination or cooperation between managers and the employees. A proper communication and coordination will be required for them. For a good human relation between workers in an organization, and there is a union among the employees, and they can accomplish by a proper communication, and managers should try their best to create a team spirit among the employees.
So now we have to study about both the principles of Taylor's principles, scientific principles, and Fayol's principles. So in Taylor's principles and Fayol principles, there is a difference between their. Taylor give more importance to the shop floor levels, to the factories, and the Fayol give more importance to the top level management. So Taylor's principle is applicable to a specialized situation, and Fayol's principle is applicable, universally applicable. So these are the difference between these two principles. These two principles are very important. So you have to study very much.